As president of Naugle Associates, you work with a lot of company presidents and CEOs. What leadership skills do you feel are most valuable for today's leaders?
Clearly, the most important skill is the ability to understand and manage yourself, and then understand and relate to others. So this falls under the emotional intelligence category. There was a study conducted several years ago by Greenpeace Partners and Cornell School of Industrial and Labor Relations. And they showed that self-awareness was the strongest predictor of an executive's success. So absolutely for a leader to understand themselves, understand how they show up, how they interact with others, and then what's important to others so that they can relate well to them, most important skill.
And then when we look at leaders, there seems to be so many different types of leaders. And how would you personally define a leader, or how would you define leadership?
Well, there's a lot of things that leaders do, such as create a vision for the future, establish organizational structure, be a good role model. Those are just a few, for example. However, I define leadership as helping every employee become the best version of themselves in order to reach their greatest potential. See, business is still accomplished by people, and we can't forget that. So the organizations who help every member of the team make their greatest contribution are the ones who clearly have the most success.
I think that's a really good point, and it's important to highlight how a team is almost always only as good as their weakest player.
That's exactly right. You're exactly right.
hmm And then going off of that, did you ever find that being a female in your field hindered you or hindered the opportunities that were presented to you?
Oh, yes. Interesting point that you make. Yes, clearly being a woman, especially when I was coming through, often I was one of the few women in the room, right? Sometimes the only woman in the room. And so there were definitely hurdles to climb. Yes, absolutely.
And then you almost touched on this, but what obstacles did you have to overcome to get where you are today?
Well, at the time, and really that's really the what I needed to overcome, because when I started my career there really were still very strong biases around women and the roles that they fit in the workplace, right? And again, while there were challenges, I never let myself be a victim. If I wanted something, darn it, I set a goal and I worked toward it, and for the most part I was able to accomplish what I set out to do. I was fortunate to have been given wonderful opportunities by several people along the way, for which, again, I am eternally grateful for. And again, while things are certainly better today for women, there is still a lot of room for improvement. And we're counting on young women just like you to continue that journey and even make it better for those who come behind you.
There are many characteristics that leaders possess. Honesty and integrity are two of those. How have honesty and integrity helped you in your endeavors as a leader?
Well, honesty and integrity are two really critical leadership characteristics. I mean, you really have to possess those if you're going to be successful. They've influenced me because having a strong sense of right and wrong and doing the right thing is really what helped me build my personal and professional reputation. And when it comes down to it, that's what's really important. What is the reputation? And some say that our reputation is probably our most important career asset. And I believe that when I started my business, having a strong professional reputation made that journey that much easier, because I always had people who said to me, from working with them on nonprofit boards or interacting in the communities or working with them prior, people always said that if I said I was going to do something, they knew I would get it done. And so, you have to have honesty and integrity and do what you say you're going to do and do the right thing. It's critical. And if you stumble, it's that much harder to rebuild that reputation.
If you were to speak to a younger Miss Naugle, what piece of advice would you like to give her?
I think the biggest piece of advice is don't sweat the small stuff, right? We always get all worked up, and I know years ago, you'd get all worked up over little things that didn't go the way you wanted them to, and you'd worry about this and worry about that. And you know what? If you stay positive and keep moving forward, one foot in front of the other, everything will work out the way it's supposed to work out. And so don't sweat the small stuff and just keep moving forward.
Thank you.